J Squad.
We gotta find now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. The culprit. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Little late today. I had to, I was doing some Session 0 stuff with a couple of my players on my D&D campaign coming up. So I was over at their house going through different things, but we are here now. We are ready to go. So I mean, where do we even start today? I've got a couple of videos. It's going to be kind of a little bit random. I saw Endymion put out another Ghosts of Yotei failure video. Yotei failure video. So we're going to go over that since he's been kind of topical for me today. Kind of topical. Endymion is, I mean, if you don't know who Endymion is, I don't know why you're on my channel. I'm constantly talking about anti-wokes and the problems that they have. Hey, Reddy, what's going on? How you been? But Endymion is he's a YouTuber, makes mostly anti-woke slop. The other day, or actually earlier today, I kind of took a jab at him a little bit. He has me blocked on X. A while back, I sent him a who was it? Nire made a video of him in a clown outfit. I think some of y'all have seen it before. I posted it to one of his dumbass takes on X. He blocked me for it. So I took a little dig at him today. I said, if you ever wonder how weak Endymion is, just look no further than his profile. Now, if you've ever read his profile, still waiting for him to block me on the main one. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Hold on, let me adjust something here so y'all can see all of it. Nope. It's Alt, I believe. Yeah, there it is. Don't want to dox anybody until I'm ready. There we go. So anyways, that's what he's got. And of course, Endymion's had me blocked for a while now. So it's like living up to your own name. You're a little bitch for saying something. I mean, I wouldn't put this on my channel. Like he even has someone that says he's blocked by. Like he is basically saying a block is a win. So is this a win for me? And also a fun fact, I'm just a small little guy, small little channel, 93 people, 93. We're almost to that 100 mark. Why do people take him seriously? It's because he says such basic shit that people want to hear. Like he doesn't really say anything of note. He just says words people want to hear. And with that, he gets tons of views, right? He came up, right after 2020, wokeness was hitting a high. His channel he's like the biggest of the anti-wokers pretty much. But another fun fact, because I'm a little shitter, right? So he shouldn't even see me. He probably blocked me for no real specific reason, except for he put me in his fucking credits. So I know he knows who I am. Oh wait, didn't you see his one of his responses regarding this? Yeah, we actually have that right here. So Endymion, people have been quote tweeting it and stuff like that with his name on it all day, and he said this aged like fine wine. What is this? In 4 years or so, people will stop saying Stellar Blade was too male gazy and start saying shit like Stellar Blade was always for the lesbians. And then airbagged. I want to point out that Stellar Blade was about 2 lesbians, but these aren't even saying the same thing, right? If it was about lesbians, that's just a fact of the statement. It's already wrong here. And then this guy right here posted a couple images of Endymion. If you block me, you win, including my post. And then Endymion, I don't know what he thought this was a win or not. This only makes him sound like more of a bitch. He never said you win if he blocks you. Yeah, well, no shit. Why would you say that? Ding ding winner. Someone gets it. So I responded to this. Where is it? I got all sorts of people in here. I don't know why I don't just go to my own channel. Come on. There we are. There. No, not there. there, old man trying to use it. So I responded to him. Oh, did it not save? What? What? Anyway, to me it sounds like this. I may have to repost it. It may not have went through. Uh, the double standard, Bobby. Yeah, I saw yours, Simon. That was funny. What I said was along the lines of Endymion, if you if you block me, you're a bitch. Also Endymion, if I block you, I'm not a bitch. Like, come on, bud. Come on. So anyways, while we're on conversation of Endymion and his retarded his retarded takes, we're going to watch an Endymion video right here that he put out yesterday. You would actually see it as a win to be blocked by him. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't really consider blocking to be a win for anything, right? I don't care if people block me, right? If I'm an annoying shitter, then that's fine. Block me for being annoying shitters. Like, to some people, I understand the block. I can get a little heated and say a few things online, so that doesn't bother me. What I get into when it comes to like the anti-wokes and Endymion and all of these guys is they parade these blocks around like they're some kind of heroes, like it's some kind of win against whoever they're talking to. But in truth, they're just as much a bitch as anyone who blocks them, right? Or from their point of view, they would say, right? It's they want to say, oh, if you block, you're weak, I win, I got the argument right. It's really dead because he'll say the exact same shit over he'll do the exact same shit when it comes down to it. He doesn't want to have any conversation with people. He just wants to sit in his little hug box and cry about the game with a girl who he says is a girl boss, and how all the gays and trans and lesbians want to take over games. So let's get into it though, because this one is called They Love to Talk Mad Shit but can't take half the crap that they dish out. That's true. They only want to talk to people who are going to back down, and it shows, because the moment you hit them with something even a little bit hard, they just shut up. They shut up and they mute you to hide the fact that they blocked you, or they block you outright. So this one is, in normal Endymion fashion, Ghosts of Yotei. Ghosts of Yotei's failure is your fault. Now, right off the bat, I haven't seen anybody but the anti-woke call this game a failure. I was actually talking to some of my normie friends today when we were doing the session 0, and I was like, what do y'all think of Ghosts of Yotei? And he's like, I've heard the game is great. Like, it's like doing well. I want to play it, blah, 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 blah. Like, normal, everyday people have no idea about this anti-woke stuff. And no one thinks it's a failure. Everyone thinks it's doing really well. The numbers say it. Hey, what's going on, Red Stain? The numbers that are coming out from, analysts, which you have to hold with a grain of salt, don't look bad. It's Endymion's, insiders or his sources. But let's see what he has to say about Ghost of Yotei being my fault.
Of Yotei, and the sales haven't reached the numbers that PlayStation has expected. The apologists are out in full force like good little soldiers.
Of course, apologists were all out like good little soldiers, calling him wrong when he is wrong.
And naturally, like always, they want to blame Gamergate for the pitfalls of games like Ghost of Yotei and Last of Us Part 2 even to this day, never coming to the realization that the issue actually lies with them and that.
Why does he keep bringing up The Last of Us? It's because it's the only thing they can point to that they think is like a failure in the gaming industry for it. But was The Last of Us 2 really a failure? Because they fucking sold that thing like 6 times remastered.
Them alone. The article that inspired this video is from Slate.com, which is titled Ghost of Gamergate, a new.
Who the fuck is Slate.com? Like, it's always these sources of these like news articles that I've never heard of. It's never any of the mainstream guys. It's never even like Kotaku that they bring up anymore. Slate News. Like, do these dudes even really talk about news and politics? That's what they're, news and politics. And in the technology section is where they had this one article. I mean, this just looks like normal. Like, who are these people? No one cares about this website.
Video games sparked fury and accusations of.
Hey, I do want to make note of the other day we watched a different video where he was quoting that Park Place. But do you notice in that other video, he had Park Place hidden? Where here, he's willing to say the name of it. It's almost like if he shows the name of that Park Place, he loses credibility.
Wokeness in entertainment, but we've played this game before and it's boring. We have played this game before. It was called Ghost of Tsushima and it was much better than whatever it is they're doing now. At least that part's true. But I also noticed that the person who wrote this article is named Laura Kate Dale. I could have sworn I've seen that name before. It tickled that part of my brain, so naturally I had to go looking, and upon finding their Twitter, which is this one right here on screen, don't harass anyone by the way, let's just observe like responsible adults and not stoop down.
Hey, don't harass anyone, but here's the person's channel or that Park Place. Yeah. Don't harass anyone, but here's this person's X account with their blue sky on it, right?
I then scrolled down and saw this image here of this Laura person, and it all started to make sense. You see, Laura here is a trans woman who worked on Dragon Age Veilguard as to some capacity, I guess, which Erika Ishii, the main character voice and face in Ghost of Yotei, also did the main character in that game as well. So yeah, this is.
And there's the what do we call it? Pattern recognition on there. If I remember right, this person wasn't even like, they just pulled her up out of nowhere, right? I may be remembering it wrong, but I remember there was someone in the Veilguard that she wasn't even like the dude who's talking about he wants blacks to replace him. It was just some Wookiee who they happen to have get the picture of, and then they just like endlessly harassed, right?
Is all starting to make a lot more sense now. So
the game is a solid at 8.2 on Metacritic. I'm convinced it's going to start that way for a while. Yeah, probably.
Former colleague who's in the same camp as Erika Ishii is now defending her and Yotei for not doing as well after they both worked on Veilguard together. Now that the lines are all lining up and it's all starting to make sense where this hit piece is coming from, so now that we all know this, everything being said here on out as I go further has that extra baggage that'll make everything even funnier and stupid as we go along. Right out of the gates, this Laura decides to lead with this, which reads, back in the summer of 2020, during the first year of COVID lockdowns, 2 first-party PlayStation games were released back-to-back, just a month apart, Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. Upon release, Ghost of Tsushima was pretty beloved by a specific right-wing culture war gamer crowd, who placed it on a pedestal specifically as a way to directly attack The Last of Us Part 2. Already the political angles are being set by this Laura here. Yes.
Well, yeah, it's a shitter news site. Oh, sorry for my grammar. That's all right. I got fucking I'm dyslexic. I got terrible grammar. Oh, so I mean, already he's picked an article that is literally just a shitter article on a political news site that I don't think I've ever heard of, that hardly anyone probably reads, to dig deep to find this one woke person that has a axe to grind with the anti-wokers and immediately starts with politics. Like, this is the same thing that Hypnotic tried to do at the beginning of the Ghost of Tsushima by going to Gamer Tech 4, who write shit articles. I'm almost convinced that some of these news stations that they're going to are fucking plants.
Ghost of Tsushima was a right-wing game apparently, despite being made by people who evidently agreed with allowing a literal Antifa supporter as their main character in the sequel.
Jesus Christ. I feel like they purposely find this articles just to get angry. They do. They have to, like, it's not just that they went out and found like a major news article that's saying this. No one has been ever said, to my knowledge, outside of maybe some fucking Reddit wokies deep in the fucking bowels of the website have ever said this. You've never seen a mainstream article talking about this. No one's ever called it right wing. This is like the offshoots of the offshoots of the offshoots of someone writing an article. And they have to do it to make it seem like the woke are after these games.
Game. And claiming that Tsushima was used as some sort of gotcha against Last of Us Part 2 is quite rich, since Part 2 was largely universally hated for its story and characters by players everywhere, regardless of ideology. The only people who liked the game's story and characters were the game industry, who unsurprisingly also awarded its Game of the Year over Tsushima because it starred a gay woman fostering a baby with the village bicycle from a guy who gets shot in the face in a movie theater. What a game. What a ride The Last of Us Part 2 was. It was really a watershed moment in all the worst ways imaginable. The most incredible part of how unaware these people are on purpose is that it clearly wasn't a right-wing thing that hated Part 2's story. After all, just go look at the TV show adaptation of the same game, and look at how general viewing audiences who haven't even played the games reacted to the plot of Part 2. You had places like Game Rant, as shown here, not really being surprised at all with how poorly Last of Us Season 2 went for HBO, considering how explosively popular Season 1 was, just like the game, or The Hollywood Reporter with their coping article titled The Last.
So what he's trying to do here is he's harping and harping and harping on The Last of Us 2, right? So essentially what he's doing is poisoning the well to set up for what we're about to talk about when it comes to Ghosts of Yotei, right? He's saying these two games came out at the same time. The second one, was a failure because of woke, blah, 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 blah. So then we're going to talk about Yotei and how the connections match, the pattern recognition that the audience so wants.
Last of Us ratings declined during Season 2. But why? But why indeed? How could a beloved show about the relationship between a father and daughter turn sour when the father is ended quickly into the second game's plot, and then the entire thing becomes a woman fever dream? But why indeed, The Hollywood Reporter? I guess we'll never know, except we do. It's because people were sick and still are of this sort of rhetoric and slop in their entertainment. Look, it would have been one thing if Part 2 did terribly with fans, but the show did amazing, but that didn't happen either. The fact the HBO show genuinely replicated almost to a T what happened with the second game when it came to its plot at the exact same point of when that plot turned south is actually frankly amazing. You can't say the right-wing crowd doomed The Last of Us Season 2 or even the show, because that would insinuate that everyone who watches is somehow also right-wing, which would be an incredible cell phone. No, instead the show...
He didn't show an article on this, was it? Let's... Yeah, the point that was made here, apart Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, the release of Tsushima was pretty much beloved by a specific right-wing culture war gamer crowd who placed it on a pedestal specifically as a way to directly attack The Last of Us Part 2. I wonder. Bear with me. I'm checking some stuff out. Let's see here. All the normal stuff. I'd have to go look into it. Ubisoft. Yeah, I'd have to go look way back, and we're not going to do that. I wonder if they actually did use Ghost of Tsushima to talk about The Last of Us. I mean, to me, it wouldn't matter. The Last of Us was kind of universally disliked, not for the reasons that I think the anti-woke disliked it. Like, I've heard multiple things. A lot of it does have to deal, from my understanding, around, the story between the father and adopted daughter. But I don't think it's the feminine fever dream. I think it's the way he was portrayed before getting taken out. It's just like poorly written story. So let's try and get back to where we are.
Actually, frankly, amazing. You can't say the right-wing crowd doomed The Last of Us Season 2 or even the show, because that would insinuate that everyone who watches is somehow also right-wing, which would be an incredible self-own. No, instead the show flopped and the game did not do as nearly as good as the first one because it eliminated the fan-favorite male protagonist and then forced the players into the shoes of characters they didn't want to play as instead. Oh gee, that sounds a lot like Yotei, doesn't it? Wow, who could have thought pulling a Last of Us Part 2 on
And there it is, making the connection.
Ghost franchise wouldn't be.
You could have written it better. Yeah, and that's what I've heard. Like, poor storytelling seems to be the downfall of that game, because I don't think people would have hated an arc where he was forced to turn against, the daughter, or the daughter was forced to kill him. Those arcs happen all the time. But if you don't write it right, then people get left with a sick feeling in their stomach, right?
A good financial decision. The crazy part is that Yotei wasn't even in production yet when Part 2 released, so Sucker Punch could see objectively the trajectory of Last of Us 2 in real time, and see that the decision to gender swap the protagonist and push woke identity politics really wasn't the way to go. And yet, despite having all the evidence laid out in front of them,
So I've yet to see actually anything that was truthful of woke identity politics being pushed in this game. No clips, no anything like that. The only thing I've seen the anti-woke complain about is that it has a female protagonist and that there's mini games in the game, right? Like, where is the woke slop? Why aren't you showing this woke slop that people are talking about? They tried the lesbian thing, but apparently that's been debunked as not how the story goes.
did Sucker Punch do but the exact same thing as Naughty Dog, only to reach a similar.
So did he complain when Sucker Punch moved from Cole after his story concluded to Desmond? I don't know, actually. If it's in the right direction, they don't care. They don't notice. Yeah, there's nothing woke in Yotei. Have you played it extra? I mean, I haven't seen anything. If there was woke stuff in there, they would have it all over their feeds, but they don't. It's just women beating up men, which, I'm sorry, the first game had female samurai and some badass female samurai. So I don't know, why isn't the first game woke? Endymion didn't? Yeah, of course he didn't.
But far less enthusiastic launch comparatively.
Nice, you're playing it now.
These types start to realize the patterns are not simply because they're somehow victims always. Everyone who isn't some far left person is also rejecting these things, and I don't know how else to say this, but the majority of the world is not far left nor far right on any given topic. Most normal people, the majority, like many watching this, are neither really fully liberal nor really fully conservative.
Hey, he's talking about me. He's talking about me.
Either. They just exist in the middle. They agree with either side, maybe on certain things, but to claim that one camp is your home isn't really it. If the overwhelming amount of normal people are just not buying your stuff, you can't really blame them, but only yourselves. But here's what Laura said about Last of Us 2 and why people apparently hated it. Here's what they said. But the game's sin on release for many on the political right was that it took a series whose lead was previously a man and continued its story with one lead who was a lesbian and another whose appearance was deemed too masculine for these players to be attracted to her. Frequently, allegations his character must be trans were used to suggest her appearance discredited her right to womanhood. The game also featured a prominent transgender character, which further drew the ire of right-leaning gamers. Come on, Laura, you know it's much more.
I mean, yeah, this is probably all stuff that was said, and it but this is just like this is a deep in the bowels wokey person making it. I interviewed Endymion, fun fact, he was a waiter before getting noticed. Not a slight on waiters, but I don't know how he got all these connections out of nowhere. He was just doing gaming commentary during COVID and got into the grift. Yeah, I looked through his channel. It's pretty cool that you've interviewed him extra. I looked through his channel and there was just like most of it was talking about I want to say God, what's the name of that game? Lore from one of the Souls likes. Like he was mostly doing like lore content and, you know, just talking about stuff. And then there was this shift into the woke, anti-woke stuff, and then that took off. And that's where we have the Endymion of today.
More than that, you know it. Yeah, people were angry that they weren't playing as Joel, but you can't blame
I think it was Elden Ring lore, I want to say.
them when every single trailer for the game marketed itself as putting Joel in scenes that he wasn't even in the game to make it seem like he was in the game more than he was so people would buy the game in the first place. That was deceptive marketing and you know it. You could say, oh, it's
Gotcha.
but I'm going to call it what it is. It's lying to your consumer base. People love the first game, okay? Joel was a very compelling and complicated character. Then your sequel game shows more Ellie gameplay, which I don't think anyone at first had a problem with because Ellie was also playable in the first game too during the infamous winter segment, not to mention the DLC. But Naughty Dog hyped up that
Sucker Punch is going to be fine. Their reputation is far better than Ubisoft and Naughty Dog. Yeah, 100%. And it's already been noted that they've made their money back, so everything else is profit from here on out for the investors and everything else. I don't think PlayStation's looking to cut anything in this company. I'd like to see the numbers, or Sony, I should say. I'd like to see the numbers. Hopefully we'll get something soon from Sucker Punch and Sony, but I don't think it's this story that they're telling. Sucker Punch is pretty well liked in the gaming community.
A game to seem like it was going to be this revenge-filled journey where Joel and Ellie go together and take names and, you know, defeat people and whatever else. Again, instead they literally lied and showed cutscenes where Joel is dead already in scenes he can't canonically be in the first place. Like when Jesse puts his hands on Ellie's mouth from behind, but then they try to say that it's Joel in the trailers when he clearly wasn't. You can't get mad at consumers for buying a game and then finding out quickly that they were actually lied to and then forced into a different game than what they were being sold. It would be like playing a Spider-Man game and they push it as a Peter Parker game, but then you play as a bunch of other characters that aren't really Spider-Man. And people then hate that because the game was marketed as a Spider-Man game. Oh wait, they did that, didn't they? It was called Spider-Man 2, and how did that go? All right, as seen here, the second game dropped nearly 50% in total sales compared to the first game.
Also want to notice John Trent writes for, or used to write for, That Park Place. So this is either That Park Place. Well, did he write for That Park Place? It's either that. No, it has to be because he wouldn't. Let's see if we can find this article. Yeah, that was back when he still wrote for them, I believe. Like I said, it's either this is the period of time when the hardcore Christian group, like our friend Egad and JDA, were still in the anti-woke circles before that all happened. So I'm betting this is either that, it's either JDA's news site that they used all the time, or it's another one. But do you notice how it's cut off? Why was he so willing to talk about Slate, but he's not willing to put up the name of this news thing, this news group? Is there a reason for that? Is it because they're bias or the information might not be correct? The worst part of Yotei pacing and DualSense integration, otherwise it's fine. It plays better than Ghost of Tsushima, better quality of life stuff, just somewhat hand-holdy early on. Gotcha. I get it.
Game. Wow, imagine that. It's almost as if we're sensing a pattern here, aren't we, Laura? People
So he says that article like it's gospel. I don't know what the truth is about Spider-Man 2. I'd have to go look it all up. But, you know, his fans will seal clap at this very notion.
like getting lied to. It's like a clickbait video. But instead, you have to pay $60 to access the article is pretty much what Last of Us Part 2 was. And then they spend the entire game with a nonsensical plot that ends in more nonsense. Using that as some sort of this is right-wingers' fault is just moronic. Nobody told Naughty Dog to lie to their fans, and nobody told Sucker Punch they wanted a female-led Ghost game. Everyone who bought the first game wanted a sequel to Jin's story.
So, he's talking about everybody just wanted a good story, everybody wanted this and that, but I will guarantee you he was boosting and quoting and making comments about the appearance and about how it's woke. He may have even said something about trans. So why are you kind of changing the narrative on it to be it's just about how the story was, or people just wanted to play Joel, when there's more than likely more to it than that, right? There's a way that the anti-woke talked about those games and has always talked about that game. Jen's story concluded. He didn't play it. Yeah, I've asked about that. I've had people tell me it didn't, and then I've had people tell me it did. It's a game that's on my bucket list to beat before I die, so it's one that I've got to beat, though I've been craving to play it since Yoida's out, and I don't have a PlayStation. But my hope was with the game, I think the thing that I was disappointed with seeing with Yotei is that it didn't... Like, I was hoping it would go to another more historical area and, maybe use, like the first game did, use historical sides of it to tell a different story, a different protagonist. I get all these people want the gaming slop to continually talk about the same person, but it gets old. Like, you start to get tired of these same characters over and over and over again. I think it's sometimes good to dip into other aspects of the lore of the place that it is. You can come up with good stories. You just have to write good stories. I think people are letting their bias get in the way. Oh, 100%, 100%. And that's something that all people have to fight. I have to fight against it sometimes, especially when I'm talking about the anti-woke.
Literally everybody. But they pivoted. They tried to do something else and just told a worse story with a far less compelling hook. Like, for God's sakes. Not only did Sucker Punch copy Naughty Dog's homework with the female hero taking over for the male character, they even did another boring revenge is bad storyline again. And how many times are we going to see the same story in video games? The revenge is bad. No, it isn't. What's bad is letting the people who wronged you live their lives peacefully and create more victims like they did to you. It's like the now infamous IGN article that happened recently.
That's a very, like, that depends on you. There's a saying, right? Eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. So there's always yes, this storyline has been overused, sure. So has the normal revenge storyline of people going after them just to go after them, right? It's just as boring a story to go through, the revenge just for revenge. The historical aspect is a good decision compared to what Endymion is saying. Yeah.
That came out coincidentally the same day as Yotei did, by the way, and it's titled, I'm getting bored of every PlayStation game telling the same story. Yeah.
I noticed he didn't put down this article either. Yeah, you're using this because PlayStation does tend to have a line in the sand for their single players. But I think this is a problem in a lot of medias, is creativity is dead and it's hard to tell a riveting story anymore. Revenge stories are hard to write, but saying revenge is always good is dumb. Yeah, it's boring, right? It's boring. There are probably other aspects you could explore in revenge. Besides the it's bad or it's good. I don't know what those are, but yeah, they're all boring. They're both boring.
Me too, IGN. Me too. I mean, listen to how IGN opens their video about...
He does say it's IGN.
I'm a huge fan of PlayStation's first-party offerings. They've come to embody the sort of cinematic adventures I've always looked for when sitting down with a controller in my hand, feeling like genuine blockbuster events meant to be savoured. But where in the past this brand of glossy storytelling felt like new ground being trodden, I can't help but feel that recently it's become the well-worn road. It's not just that all of PlayStation's major releases adhere to the now trademarked third-person cinematic stylings. It's that the stable of developers has become seemingly obsessed with stories that explore the exact same themes, grief and revenge. And I'm starting to get a little tired of it. As a rule, these games are all impeccably well made, but I'm starting to miss that era when PlayStation's range felt wider and things were a little bit more fun.
Gee, I think it's kind of a
See, he's trying to use this as some kind of woke ideology when pointing it out, and I agree with IGN when it comes to this thing. I think that's that way with a lot of stories, but I think it's not from a woke identity. It's from uncreative stories, right? They're just people like, or companies like Sony want easy to make slop that's going to make them money. The revenge story was selling, so they went with the revenge story. Then you know what? They want to change it up, so they switch it to revenge is bad. Like it's easy for them to make because the numbers are going through. Why would they want to explore new balances and take risks on a story that no one would connect with? I think it's dumb. I think you should take those risks and tell a different story. But creativity in the AAA industry is, well, dead most of the time.
problem, isn't it, Laura, that even IGN, the arbiters of defense against the audience wants and needs for years, is now starting to show the cracks in this ideological slogtail you guys just keep trying to push time and again. I mean, it doesn't even end there. Here's another clip from that same video where IGN blatantly states that Ghost of Yotei is just the same Slop story told a million times already. Please, watch this too.
The realization that so many PlayStation games have explored the same grim story themes struck me when playing through Sucker Punch's new Ghost of Yotei. While I thoroughly enjoyed it and admire its consistently exciting approach to combat and genuine sense of discovery it creates for exploration, I couldn't help but feel I'd been told its story before. As Atsu, you're tasked with avenging the death of your parents on a blood-soaked journey across 17th century Japan, as you hunt down each of the Yotei Six. Not only is this tale unfortunately close to the plot of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I also played to completion earlier this year, but it's the same combination of fiery revenge arc, crossed with meditations on what it is to grieve, that has become something of a hallmark for PlayStation Studios in recent years.
I'm sorry it came to this. Little wolf.
2019's The Last of Us Part 2 is an obvious trailblazer, with Ellie's dark descent into a rage-filled embodiment of revenge coming as a result of the death of her father figure Joel.
Did he just play something that said the opposite of what he said about about The Last of Us 2? Like they He's been saying The Last of Us 2 is a failure, but IGN very much didn't say that. Oh, let's go back here. Let's see.
Of course, was the Ellie's 2019's The Last of Us Part 2 is an obvious trailblazer, with Ellie's dark descent into
a trailblazer,
a rage-filled embodiment of revenge coming as a result of the death of her father figure Joel. That, of course, was the sequel to the 2013 original that explored how Joel struggled to cope with the death of his own daughter. At the time, The Last of Us was seen as fueling a wave of sad dad games, including 2018's God of War. But in hindsight, these were just the building blocks for PlayStation's preoccupation with grief.
I think they play the story safe because the budgets are so big they need to have something universal. I'd rather see small budget games exist to take more risks. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like you look at some of the smaller companies that are coming out. I haven't finished most games. I haven't finished Expedition 33, but it seemed like most people enjoyed the story from that. And I don't think it doesn't sound like it was a revenge story or a basic story told over again. It seems like they tried to take some risks with it. It's just when it comes to corporate, when anything, and this is not something that's new. Indy is in need to throttle. When it comes to this is not something new in the industry, right? The AAA industry has been buying out companies that had decent stories or even good stories. Like BioWare was known for the long time for their stories. And they were bought. It became stale slop. And then they made Anthem. And Anthem was the death of BioWare. I say that to this day. Mouthwashing was another really unique story. Yeah, you see it more in the indie and AA industry because people are willing to take the risks, because you have to take the risks to be seen. Sometimes even if you take the risks and it's good, you won't be seen till much later. Dying Light, The Beast is a revenge story, but they have never tried to tell a compelling story. Not all games need a good story, just good gameplay. It's always good to have a mixed batch. Yeah, I agree. To me, gameplay is going to become the mainstay for me on most games. I can do a lot of headcanon story, but sometimes it is good to have just a good story in a game. And when you have some companies that were known for their good stories, you're hoping to get a good story out of it. In the PS1 and PS2 days, in the early days of PS3, Sony was doing smaller budget games that were all over the place in a good way. Some people remember. Yeah, I mean, yes, I remember. Now, I didn't have a PS3. PS2 was my last PlayStation, and then I just moved fully over to PC, right? I don't even think I may have had. I had the original Xbox. I had an Xbox 360, and I don't even think I bought an Xbox after that. But if you don't tank studios when you do small budgets, yeah, but you don't tank studios and the game fails. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in an industry now when we've seen studios make bangers sell well and still get tanked. So we're in an interesting time. But yeah, I agree with you. It was much easier. They were trying to find their footing in that single player industry and kind of solidify it. But now they just want put the slop in the bag, send it out to the people. It's got the name God of War on it. It's got the name Ghosts of Yotei. It's got the name of whatever, other games that are out there. They want it to be just good enough that people will buy it and play it, and then be done and move on to the next one.
Find your way home. You are free.
So yeah, as you can see, it's funny how the only people who aren't admitting that the slop has hit a fever pitch are the very same people who profit from being brought on board to write and protect games with similar ideologies, actors, and themes every single time. Nobody wants.
What are these ideologies, man? Point it out. Like, point out, this is what happened. This is the ideology. Because right now, all you're showing me is woman, fighter, bad. So did every game that was the Street Fighter and all the other fighter games, are those bad because they had females that could beat up men? Like, what's going on here?
This stuff. Revenge is not bad, and I think we need more stories about people overcoming impossible odds again.
Oh, did you see the Raws alert where they may kill the blue check monetization? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping they do. I pay for it so that I can yap without having to make multiple posts. But to me, it's just the only people that are making money are the incredibly high up people. I would almost guess that they're paying more money to the top, because I've never seen anybody with a ton of views actually show a lot of money based off of it. So yeah, hopefully it's not a rumor. I don't really care. The blue check mark after they made it paid really means nothing, right?
We need games where the hero faces the world and comes out the other side changed by what they've experienced, but not in some slop revenge plot again for the millionth time. As I've said in other videos, a Tsushima sequel could have easily explored.
Yeah, Elon Sims get paid more.
The darker side of Jin's ghost moniker becoming a far greater threat as it inspires the people of Japan to become emboldened or copycats of his clearly disgraceful rejection of the samurai code. You could have a very wonderful and nuanced tale where by the end of the game, Jin may have been saving Japan, but at the cost of what made Japan's society so honorable and just in the first place. The message could have been that Jin saved the body, the land of Japan, at the cost of his people's soul. And that would tie into the actual future of Japan, as in the centuries following, Japan would become divided and eventually be pulled into things like World War II, where moments like Hiroshima would further change the country's world forever. You could actually have said something about revenge and that it changes you into something else, but do it in a unique way that leaks out of Jin like sweat.
This whole idea that it has to be Jin, right? You can't complete a person's story anymore. We like Jin. You're going to beat that fucking horse until we say it's stale, and then we're going to tell you it's fucking stale. I have no problem with them using Ghosts as a series that explores different parts of Japan, right? Or different stories within Japan. There's always kind of this little bit of mysticism and what's the word? Magic. It's not the word that I'm thinking of. Superstition around Japanese culture and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that in the games. So, there's so many different areas you can explore of that area. Like, I think, what are they saying? Yotai, the Ghost of Yotai one, she's what, considered an Oni or something like that. So she's using the superstition of an Oni to scare men. Mythos, that's a good word. And, while becoming a badass swordsman in the process. It can absolutely fit within that mythos.
As if it's almost poisoning and corrupting the minds of other Japanese warriors and people to defend against the Mongol invasion. But no, instead you just did another story already told by a game that released a month before your previous game did with Tsushima already. They instead wasted a golden opportunity to tell a really nuanced story with a very compelling protagonist in Jin Sakai. And you did it to cater to people like Laura here, who should never be.
I do like the idea of Sucker Punch telling the story of 3 different Ghosts of Japan. Ori, I can't pronounce it. Japanese words always elude me. But yeah, it's based in like the mythos and the superstition around it. I mean, you could tell I think with that reach, you can do Ghosts like as a longer series by telling it from different periods. You can even change it all together to where it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be like the necessarily the same sword fighting game. You can explore different aspects of that, right? I think of Frostpunk as one of those games that they made their first game, and then the second game's gameplay is completely different, and they're both good games. So you don't have to stick to the tried and true. I know it's easier. But she was also trained by her dad, who was a blacksmith, and trained with her twin brothers, Jubi, who wanted to be samurai. Atsu isn't a girl boss. Yeah, that's my understanding, like with what little I've seen of it. But unfortunately, the slop people just want more slop. They don't want anything interesting.
Be your target audience anyways, because these people don't support games, and we know it. Because if they did, there would not be a literal graveyard of titles littered already that these types have also not supported either, despite being always angry when they fail. I genuinely do think that Tsushima's sequel being fumbled like this is one of the biggest gaming disappointments in recent years for me. Like, imagine if instead of Halo 3 and Master Chief finishing the fight, they just made Halo 3 about a random female Spartan like 100 or 200 years in the future. After Master Chief finished the fight,
and like you could tell that story in the future of how things, and you can show the effects that Master Chief had on the world in that kind of game. Like you're very much telling the same thing that you were talking about. Master Chief can't just be the eternal Superman that fights on and on and on. You can branch off and tell other stories within that universe while giving hints and nods off to a different game, different studio. Yeah. To other parts of the game that, were different. Halo did do this, to mixed success, I believe. So it's basically, Indy wants this story told the way he wants it, and he can see no other way that can be told. I don't want a different character. I just want my Master Chief. Yeah, 343 easily can do a Halo game without Chief. Tons of books prove that. True. The irony is he knows nothing of the Halo lore, the books. Linda was one of the Spartan twos. That's funny. That is hilarious. It's tourist season when it comes to them on a lot of the lore. They step into a lot of stuff. Like, I hate when I see some of these dudes, especially like Grums, step into the tabletop gaming scene. I don't believe that dude's ever gotten enough people together to play a D&D game, at least not for long, because he seems like the kind of person you would play session 1 with and then never fucking come back to. These people who talk about, like, why is a person in a wheelchair if regeneration exists? And it's like, man, it would be so uncreative a world if all the powerful clerics were just going around and raising everybody from the dead and using 7th level spells to regenerate them. It's like you're being very, very surface level on how these games actually work and how the story works. It's just more stuff.
Already off screen. That's Ghost of Yotei. Absolute asinine decision making on display here. It shows a complete lack of understanding of what the fans wanted and proves to me why this woke ideological nonsense needs to be uprooted and thrown into the incinerator for good.
We are 14 minutes and 11 seconds into this. He has not shown one thing yet that is woke about this game.
Far too many great games and franchises to these hateful and lethargic, ideologically aligned weirdos, and I'm honestly tired of it. Laura does continue with more as they keep missing the point. Here's what they said. Now, the very same right-wing voices who held Ghost of Tsushima up as one of the best games ever made when it helped their argument seem to think that Ghost of Yotei is a terrible video game with no redeeming qualities. YouTube creators decried how woke politics ruined the game, while others took to X to decry its progressive agenda. Yes, because they ruined the franchise by not only telling a story that had been told before, but did it in a way that completely halted the momentum of what it could have been Sony's next ultra super popular franchise. And
where? Like, you didn't even mention anything woke in that. You just flat out said you didn't like this story, right? He's so angry in just 30 minutes of just angry. Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to sound angry for the fans. That article made him so mad. I mean, it's just a wokey article made by a wokey person who is the opposite of him. It's not about the woke politics. It's about the anti-woke politics. It's two sides of the same coin a lot of times. Ghost of Tsushima was apolitical. Yeah, I agree.
The fact that Laura here can't see that is crazy, but who are we kidding when this same person helped make Dragon Age Veilguard of all things? That also completely missed the point of that series too, but Laura continued by referencing what Grum said via...
Was she part of the story writing? Like, who was she in the game?
Twitter as it reads here. We ignored the woke writings and other rumors. Mark Kern, a former video game executive and prominent Gamergate activist,
this is what it is. He's got to protect his boy.
Who goes by Grums Online, wrote on X. We ignored the protagonist change to a woman for no good reason. We ignored that they made her ugly, but then it turns out it was a woke-infested, assassination-loving, Antifa-supporting, lesbian-ending woke piece of slop after all. And I mean, where is the lie? Everything Grums...
Well, let's see. Let's talk about woke infested. I have yet to see anything that was shown as woke unless woman equals woke. Assassination loving. You did a lot of assassinating and killing in the first game. I mean, that was kind of the whole point. Antifa supporting only falls to the actor, who I doubt had any play in the story. She just did her voice and moved on. And the lesbian ending woke piece of slop, from my understanding, people have come out and said they're not lesbians. So, yeah, pretty much everything you said here is a lie.
Said there is true about Yotei. The lead actor is just like, they are pro-Antifa. We know this already. It does end with two lesbians raising a daughter. That's in the game. You can't refute that. And it does ruin the...
Tourist who's never played the game. Yet Grum's backtracked so bad, saying it wasn't going to flop. Yeah, I mean, that's their whole thing, is saying that, hey, it's probably still going to sell well. It's probably still going to sell well. And then when it sells well and people are like, you were wrong, they're like, oh, I said it was probably going to sell well. I think he's talking about the senior dev and the producer. Are you talking about the one that got fired? Was that the senior dev and the producer? I don't know that I've seen that particular thing about the senior dev. If you got it, I'll pull it up and look at it. And even if their politics are, woke or lefty or whatever it is, did it make it into the game, right? There's lefts and rights working all over the gaming industry who have different political beliefs. Did it get put into the game for no other reason but politics?
Momentum of the series, because Tsushima sold 2.3 million copies in 3 days as a totally new IP, yet the sequel game couldn't even break 1.6 million copies in a full week. And even if you show the evidence, the White Knights will reject it. And just to
He says evidence, but there hasn't been any official numbers yet. Only the numbers that he said were evidence from his insiders that told him that the game was a flop, even though no other people who are well known for giving statistics on how a game is doing said anything. Yeah, I believe you, Extra. I bet you there's not any politics in the game. Yeah, I bet it's just a game, like any other.
ignore what you say anyways, despite it being true. Even the websites are reporting that Yotei isn't a mega hit either. When are these people gonna realize?
What?
Even the websites are reporting that Yotei isn't a mega hit either. When are these people?
Where are people saying that? I have not seen, outside of Endymion, Grums, and the normal people, I have not seen anyone say that the game is doing bad. Most people don't know, or they're saying, the numbers you're using aren't what you say they are. There's not even gender commentary in the game. I'm shocked these people are focusing on Yotei when Silent Hill F goes there. I don't know, man. I've seen them make a few comments about it, but I think Yotei is the biggest one in the spotlight, so they're trying to force this woke idea on it.
Going to realize that objective reality is more important than the false realities they always tend to live in? How can you even debate these people when they so routinely just conveniently forget the truth just because it goes against their ideals in that moment? Like, these people are genuinely insane, dude. And the fact that you'll see these types try to discredit Grums with his other game Ember, like, look, at the end of the day, Grums was instrumental.
Oh no, he's defending Ember. Come on. Come on.
Diablo, arguably some of the most influential games the industry has ever seen.
No one knows what he did on those games. His degree is not in game development or coding or anything like that. It was in like law. So no, he doesn't. But hold on, let's see if he mentions Redfall.
Games that have done better and continue to do better than most new games made today either way. Yet you guys routinely just discredit the guy and hate him, and just forget his contributions to video games because he's an old head like Vince Impella who does Battlefield now and just wants games to be fun instead of lectures.
Grums was underneath people when he was at Blizzard. Or he was underneath people who could keep him in line, people that tell him what he wanted to do. We know exactly how Grum's leadership when making a game worked. We know what he likes to do to try and sell a game. Firefall was a disaster. The Firefall bus was a waste of money. The guy has already shown that he has no idea how to run a gaming company and was laughed out of the industry. StarCraft 64, huge contribution. He took a game that was already good and turned it onto a console. Indy is the White Knight. I mean, he needs to put on the armor because he's White Knighting pretty hard for Grums.
Like, who should I value more in their opinion here? Laura, who I guess helped Veilguard, which was terrible, or Grums, who made $3 billion franchises? Like, be serious, dude.
He didn't make shit. He worked for the company. He didn't go in there and come up with any ideas. There's no proof he was coding the game. He led one small team, and he left the company. Apparently not on good terms.
Look at how Laura here continually misses the entire point. Like, listen to this. This is what they said. Many of the core arguments boil down to, I don't believe a woman could murder a strong and combat-trained man, regardless of their justifications. I think it's pretty clear the difference that they're upset about this is that this time the main character is a woman played by a non-binary actor. Ah yes, nobody wants to play as a woman. Just forget Stellar Blade, Wu Chang, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VI, 13 and 13-2, Bayonetta, the Borderlands series, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and soon to be 9 and then some, plus the Village DLC if you count that too, Portal 2, A Plague Tale, Innocence and Requiem, Tales of Berseria, Kenna,
all games that I doubt this guy's even played.
Bridge of Spirits, Super Metroid, and all of those games, Returnal, Horizon Zero Dawn, Hades 2, Beyond Good and Evil, Claire Obscure, what else do we got? Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Silent Hill 3, and many, many more off the top of my head that people don't like playing as a woman. Oh, right. But instead, all those games I listed are pretty great and more. I mean, they all star women, don't they? Ah, that kind of just goes against what Laura's saying here, isn't it? Well, uh-oh again, I guess. You see what I mean? These industry types do not live in objective reality. You could have had a female protagonist.
And he says these industry types. We're talking about someone who was in the industry, but now writes for a small-time article group, right? I don't remember why she left. I don't know if it was the normal anti-woke stuff getting overdone. I don't know if she was fired after Veilguard didn't do well. I don't even know what she did on Veilguard. They're just pointing out that she's part of Veilguard because they can draw a little red line to Ghosts of Yotei. I can't blame people for thinking that when you have some loud asshole complaining about women. Yeah, I mean, when you have a group that's talking about like the uglification of women and things like that, pattern recognition starts to take over and you have to like take a step back to realize it.
Protagonist eventually, but people wanted the sequel to Jin first. And yeah, it is a deal breaker when the lady in your game supports Antifa, for crying out loud. And let's not forget all the fighting games where you also play.
You wanted Jin first.
There's women too. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I could keep going, but I don't need to. You get the point. People like female characters. They just don't like insufferable activist weirdos who hate the audience is what they don't want, which is what Yotei is. But of course, we'll never admit it because it goes against the agenda, of course, like always. Nier Automata. There's another game with female protagonists. It sold like 7 million copies already. Like, I could just keep going. But why bother people like Laura? Or they're just gonna put their fingers in their ears and then shriek autistically instead of listening to you. Like, Laura then brings up Veilguard. Here's what they said. This isn't the first time this kind of attitude has followed Erika Ishii's attachment to a game. Last year, they were one of the voice options for Rook, the lead character in Dragon Age The Veilguard. That game was targeted with similar hate aimed at Erika Ishii as well as anyone else non-cisgender involved in the game in any capacity. Now, everybody hated that game because it wasn't Dragon Age. Y'all ruined the lore, you ruined Solus, and you turned Thetis into a transgender birthday party bonanza instead of the dark fantasy world that it was always meant to be. Even like Maddie Plays and Skill Up hated the game too. Like, come on, dude. And look at this cope as Laura writes this.
Yeah, but did you even watch their videos? Because what you're saying is vastly different than what they said. I agree that Veilguard was woke slop, right? I think that they completely changed the story around it. I think it went in the wrong direction. I knew this game was going to be woke slop from way back in 2014 when they announced, what was it called? Dreadwolf. Like the lead artist already said they were going to try and push as much politics into the game as possible. Dragon Age was dead even before Veilguard. Well, 100%. Dreadwolf went into basically development hell. No one thought this game was going to be good. There were people who were, hoping for a good Dragon Age game, but you've got a game that's been in development hell. Inquisition already had some problems where people didn't like the story and things like that. Why would you think that it's going to do well? So I'm still friends with him on PSN. Want to know something about AF? He puts 70 hours into Forspoken. No shit. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. I've heard lately, here recently, I've heard that a lot of the hate around Forspoken is not as much as it's made out to be, right? So we'll see.
About Veilguard, and good God, it's a big paragraph, okay, but here we go. Let me read it to you. I'm sorry, but it is kind of long. But here's what she said. That game allowed the player to optionally have their character be transgender and featured a party member who came out as non-binary during the course of the adventure. I know firsthand how ravenous people were with that game's release. I posted online that I worked on the game without any specifics and was very quickly targeted with abuse ranging from
That's what it was. She was the one. This is one thing that like really pissed me off about the anti-woke, right? Veilguard was kind of my turning point, my full turning point. There was also some stuff beforehand where I started to see a lot of the lies that Endymion uses and things like that, especially around Avowed and other stuff like other games like that where they use metrics that don't tell the full story. Yeah, she didn't say anything about it. She just said she worked on the game and they went after her just because pattern recognition was part of their mind, right? Just because pattern recognition said that this person's woke, so that's the reason, so we'll go after him. Like, it was, to me, it's just nothing. It was just abuse for abuse, or harassment, if you want to say that, for no other reason than what this person looked like, not for what they did in the game.
exaggerated transphobic caricatures, to violent punishment fantasy emails, to disturbing content being spammed in my live stream chats. In their minds, as a trans woman credited on the game, I obviously must have single-handedly forced BioWare to make the game woke against their will. It was quite a thing to watch right-wing gamers stream Veilguard, pick 3 dialogue choices about being trans in a row, and then act with mock outrage that the game had forced them to now be transgender.
Yeah. Indy would then go about complaining about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and how it forced him to be gay. And I think that was a big turning point for a lot of people with Indy and a lot of the anti-wokes that were crying about it. Because what he tried to say that it was a pedo game, and then he tried to say that it was it forced you to be gay. And she's you said I played Dragon Age Avowed 99 hours of it and tested how you can engage, and she's not lying one bit. Well, yeah, they have to point out the woke stuff, right? And you can clearly say that Dragon Age the Veilguard was a woke game. There was also a lot of other factors too that made it really bad. You can try and say that that's woke, but I don't know that there's any proof. But yeah, I would say Veilguard for me was a turnoff because, one, a lot of the woke stuff, two, it looked like it was it looks like it was a copy of Dragon Age 2, where they forced you into these little boxes to fight. The action RPG just didn't feel like the first game. It missed something that I wanted.
How tone deaf can you be, Laura? How can you look at the utter disaster that was Veilguard that did so poorly that EA is now owned by literal Saudi Arabians because of idiots like yourself ruining these franchises because you couldn't help yourselves, even after the dust has already settled? And you guys lost BioWare millions of dollars, and a lot of your colleagues got fired and are still looking for work, like Patrick Weeks, who still begs on Blue Sky for work to this day. You can sit there and look at Veilguard's reception and go, you know what? It's not our fault. Instead, it's those dang pesty right-wingers instead. Like, you're lost, Laura. The car you're in is barreling down the highway. It's raining. The lights guiding your vehicle aren't working anymore. The engine is beeping. The wheels are starting to fall off. The brakes aren't responding. The steering wheel is starting to shake too. And even then...
What kind of fucking analogy is that? That just sounds like... What are you trying to even say there? Oh no, they're not getting jobs. I know. I'm constantly following them on Blue Sky. What's going on, bud?
and you're going to sit there as your seatbelt unclips itself as you zoom into your own doom in the middle of the night, and you still can't realize that all of this is your fault. That nobody destroyed your ideology more than you did. But look at this cope. Look at what Laura then says next. As with Ghost of Yotei, you can see how flimsy these arguments are if you look at them for more than a moment, and the thing is, I wish we could just ignore this vocal but small minority of bigoted creeps. But their hate campaigns are unfortunately having real impacts on the kinds of games we are seeing getting made. The only thing flimsy is your arguments. Like, who are we kidding? And yes, how dare the industry want to make games for people who actually buy.
Dude, we've been sitting here for 21 minutes and you haven't made a single argument for why Ghost of Tsushima is woke or why it's failing. You're just talking to talk. So yes, your arguments are flimsy because they're so easy to debunk. You just look for 2 minutes and you're already wrong.
And support them. Like, how evil of them to do this. I'll end this video with this huge paragraph that Laura writes as their last hurrah in this article, as it reads here. Video game executives are unfortunately listening to this vocal minority of right-wing voices and allowing them to make boardrooms shy away from progressive themes. Many of these ideas are barely progressive. It's hardly a dramatic move for a game to feature a female.
Yeah, he has pretty much gone in a circle about it.
Character who is older or doesn't fit specific beauty standards, but that's the point. If these movements can wrap anything big or small into these reactionary culture wars and make enough noise, they can make anything.
These people truly are. I don't understand why very few people use their platform to promote games that are good/enjoyable. Well, the real answer to that extra is because it doesn't sell as well as the drama does. So, you know, there's 1,000 channels out there that play games. There's less people who are willing to get into the mud and pull up drama and talk shit, right?
But a cis, straight, able-bodied male protagonist feel like an inherently political, creative choice. Having your game's hero be a woman who can fight, or casting a non-binary actor because they were the best fit for the role should not be considered any more political a choice than having a white man play a white male lead character. Oh my god, dude, you missed the point so hard you gotta be a stormtrooper. Like, there's no way. There's no point in further discussing this moronic article, but I think you all get the point. If at the end of Veilguard failing miserably and Ghost of Yotei missing its sales targets and seeing games like Battlefield 6 do well and all this other crap not working doesn't convince you that these people are never going to learn from their mistakes?
He didn't say anything about that article. He didn't break down any of that article. He's just skimming past it. Oh my god, you missed the point. Anyways, like, you said nothing. Like, what is she missing the point about? What in this thing is wrong? Tell me, show me, right?
Missed the point so hard you got to be a stormtrooper. Like, there's no way. There's no point in further discussing this moronic.
There's no point in further discussing it, probably because you have no way to talk about it. You don't understand it enough to make good points. You just want to say woke and get your little clicks.
Article, but I think you all get the point. If at the end of Veilguard failing miserably and Ghost of Yotei missing its sales targets and seeing games like Battlefield 6 do well and all this other crap not working doesn't convince you that these people are never going to learn from their mistakes, what Laura should do instead is just attach this article to their resume when they go looking for a job, so anyone with a functioning brain can read what Laura said here and realize if they allow ideologies like this to infest their games in any way, that the only conclusion they will actualize is losing hundreds of millions of dollars and having to call the movers to get rid of all the desks and furniture in the building, when people like this inevitably ruin every single piece of media that they touch. Your games suck, your ideology is losing, and you prove that you can't learn.
See, over and over again, he's just saying the same things here that he was saying before. Nothing new, nothing, different than it's woke, it's slop, you're ruining gaming, but nothing about how, why, proof. It's just the Endymion just repeats the same thing in every video. If you've watched one Endymion video, you've watched them all. I mean, come on, bud. You got to come up with something more than just woke and gay. He's starting to sound like Andy Pants a little. It's just their ideology is ruining gaming, but there's no real explaining like what's going on.
Learn from your own mistakes. You're in your apartment right now, the walls are on fire, the windows are melting, the doorknobs are singeing your hand, and somehow you're still gonna say that this is still right-wingers' faults or something.
What's funny, Red Stain, is I already know what they're going to say. They're going to say, I always knew the game was going to sell, because that's what they did when it looked like Assassin's Creed was selling well. That's the exact thing. This is if you mirror this with Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's the exact same argument. There's no difference. There's no change. It's the exact same playbook. They do the exact same things to preface it so they can go in and be like, oh, no, see, I wasn't wrong. Everything else I said was wrong, but I did say the game would sell well.
Like, Jesus, dude, not everyone is some hateful bigot. You just convinced yourself that anyone who doesn't think like you is a literal demon, and frankly, you are just getting what you deserve.
Isn't that exactly what you did? Everyone who is on the left who makes video games is evil and ruining gaming. That's exactly what you said. So how are you any different than this wokey writing this article?
I have complete and utter apathy wrapped in a blanket as stupid to coddle someone whose brain is unable to understand the opinions of the very players that you were tasked in the first place with servicing. But good riddance. I hope this ideology dies as many times as it can and people realize how stupid these sorts of games make these companies look by association. Stop letting morons make your games, and I promise you'll thank me in the future. But thanks for watching, subscribe, and good lord, man.
Oh, hold on. We gotta.
Next time. What an idiot, dude.
God damn, he does that fast, doesn't he? Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum. Did he take me out? Oh no. Big boss. It wouldn't have, I mean, this game's from a day ago, so it was before we were beefing. He seems really angry. Yeah, I mean, he's got to put on the angry face, because that's how it works, man. You can't be happy. You can't be. I think he put people's names in here multiple times. He was definitely at you. You were decently far into it. Okay, let's play it a little bit. Well, I know it was when the Was that me? Bum bum bum. I don't think he removed me. He might remove me for his next video. But I thought I was above this guy. But I think he puts this butter biscuit guy in here multiple times. I hate woke. God, he puts a lot of people in here. He's so butthurt by all these people that he has to constantly put their names in it. I hate woke's in there again. He just puts them multiple times to make it look like he's got a bunch of haters. Well, he does it really fast, if you've noticed. He wants it to look like he's got a bunch of haters that don't call him out or don't whatever. So he puts them in here, but obviously he never shows or even talks about really any of us. He just blocks and then acts like a tough guy. No, he's never been big about calling out people. Unless it's one of the bigger channels like Mighty Keef, he's not going to take the time to do it. He may say something that's out there, but for the most part, he just blocks and moves on. Like I almost guarantee that all these people are blocked in one way or the other. It may not. We're probably going to stop. Endymion is setting himself up for being a lolcow. Oh, 100%. That would be beautiful. I may have gone too far. I'm not going to go through the whole thing and try and find me. But yeah, Endymion being Endymion. I should be somewhere in here. So if you want to go look, you can. Damage sent me a picture of it. I put it online. It's pretty funny. But let's move on to a next subject. Now that I've got my Endymion tent in, let's move on. So I saw this video. I mean, it's more Ghost of Yotei stuff, but I wanted to see what Clownfish TV had to say. I also noticed something. They're using Slate again. Oh, this must be the same one, Wokeness and Entertainment. I'm not going to listen to this. It's going to be the same talking point that I think the others have said.
This is Neon. I am not here with media, and it wasn't just the gaming publications. It was like all of pop culture, and this went on for. It did kind of push the pendulum back in the other direction. We had far left media outlets for years demonizing gamers, demonizing nerds.
This is just going to be the same stuff we've already seen. Like, what is the point of bringing up people you blocked? Just ignore them. That's kind of my thing with it. I don't even bother like blocking people. I just ignore them. The only way, I don't think I've blocked anyone yet, but I think the only way I would block you is if you're like spamming me or something like that. That would be it. And even then I wouldn't brag about it. Let's see. So if you saw in the news, or you saw in what they would call the news, Gothic Therapy, the two, people in there bought some stuff to one of the paid Sweet Baby Inc. things, and apparently watched the whole thing on stream and then cut it up for us to enjoy in a 30-minute video. So we'll see how. I don't want to watch the full 4-hour thing, though I probably should, to see how it was clipped. I probably will go after this and try and find at least the sections they pull out. I'm not a fan of Sweet Baby Inc. Yes, I think they're woke slop company. I think they have ideology they want to push. I do think that they've said some pretty unhinged stuff about, trying to force gaming to be the certain way they are. I also think that they're a boogeyman that doesn't have the power that people think they do. I don't think they're rewriting entire scripts. I don't think they're coming in and making everything lesbian and gay. I don't think they're doing any of that. I think they're just a company that consults for games, and they have a lot more left-wing politics. So let's see what these guys have to say.
Week about this stream, about where we're going to cover something that I found that was a Sweet Baby Inc. talk that was behind a paywall. Well, I have to come out and admit that it is not behind a paywall. It was, but it's also free and available everywhere. No one else found it.
Well, obviously no one else found it. No one else is you.
Jesus Christ. They found it free and in public, but no one else could have found it but him. Yeah, no one else found it because of him, because no one else is constantly looking for Sweet Baby Inc. so they can make a video on them, because that's all they're known for. So yeah, that's a true statement.
Welcome to Hungama's Game Changers 2025, a celebration of women who aren't just playing the game, they're changing it. I'm Ronak from Hungama, and today
don't ask me to pronounce that name. I have no clue what that name is.
I have the honor of speaking someone who is quite literally rewriting the rules of gaming. Not just in terms of character or story, but in terms of who.
Do not redeem. Do not redeem.
Too late. We already paid for this.
Who gets to be at the table. She's a writer, narrative designer, studio head, and an unapologetic advocate for inclusion in one of the most complex industries and time we know. Please welcome Kim Belair, CEO and co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc. What was the moment in your journey that you felt, yes, this is what I should be building?
Hopefully never.
Get ready for the rigmarole.
It's gonna be time for Kim to glaze herself. Here we go.
Oh, it's that's an interesting question, because I think, and I'm sure that right, on the journey there are so.
I want to mention, as you can see, this is from 2025. This is from August, the end of August of this year. So this is recent.
So about a month and a half ago. And can someone please slow down Kim's speech? She talks way too fast. It's hard to understand her.
I don't understand her even when she talks. So
Fair enough.
So many different points that you go, is this it? I'm not sure. And I think we're always simultaneously experiencing those moments and also chasing those moments.
What does that mean?
No clue.
Was there a moment where you felt like you were doing the right thing? Well, we're sometimes experiencing them, and then we're also sometimes having them.
And chasing them. That doesn't answer the question, does it?
I hate this.
So early on when we started Sweet Baby Inc. and just for a little bit of context, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development company, which means that we do script writing, narrative design.
If I was CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., I would try to only give advice in a moderate level of advice, but also said to just do whatever feels natural and don't be afraid to take risks. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple thing to go. I think in a lot of cases, what they're doing is they're going out and doing the research for things. Like you look at South of Midnight. It was a Canadian company that was doing it. Sweet Baby Inc. is Canadian, but I think they went and did the research and found people on that, Mississippi Southern culture to make the game believable and probably help them write those stories based off of the information they found or the other consultants they might have brought in.
We do narrative direction, we do story development, story punch-ups, and we do kind of representation and consultation and stuff like that.
So all the things that they know that they've told us that they don't do and that they only consult narratively, Kim just explained all the things they actually do, which is all the things we said that they did.
Confirmed.
Thanks, Kim. Well, okay, roll credits.
This is fucking riveting so far.
Unfortunately, there's still another hour to go.
Intentionally, not by core design or agenda. But when Spider-Man and Alan Walker came out...
Alan Walker, by the way. She doesn't even know. Don't you love the Alan Walker franchise, honey? It's my favorite.
I mean, it's a great anime, but...
I love the...
Where is this being done? Where is the Hungam podcast? Cast. The U.S. company? It doesn't really say. Really? Did this just happen? No, this isn't it. That's not it. Podcast on YouTube. This is an Indian podcast, I believe. Yeah, this looks like the...
Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, very warm welcome.
No, that's not the same woman. Either way, I mean, Alan Wake 2 was moderate in terms of woke. These people are insane. Yeah, I agree. I know how just kidding popped up right after you said Oh, I didn't realize I did that. So this person sounds like English isn't her first language. She said Alan Wake. So where are we getting to like your good analysis on the gaming thing? So far you've said Sweet Baby Inc. said all the things that they do. Sure.
I am learning so much today.
You did find yourself in the eye of the storm. So
yes.
There was a lot
very much so
backlash that came with what seemed like a woke agenda or a DEI agenda. So many questions come out of that. But first, how do you deal with that level of harassment?
So the thing that was weird and funny, but not in a humor, not funny, haha, is that when Alan Wake came out and also Spider-Man, we were so excited, right? We were like, this is, we worked on those games for a very long time. Spider-Man, we were on for 3 years and we couldn't tell anybody, right? So we were so excited to finally have those games released and we could finally talk about it. And having them released within 1 week of each other, we were like, oh, this is going to be great, because we were excited that people would finally kind of see the ways that we're working and go, wow, I didn't realize that different writers in different industries could even work on that.
Little company.
Right? Well, that's the thing, for a little company, like we're very, very small. And so we were just like excited to be able to do this, and we thought it was really cool. But the backlash then ended up kind of being, I mean, the hardest part about it was it had nothing to do with any of the real work we had done, right? On our website, and also just any time you talk to me, I always talk about, I think, the importance of representation and inclusion in the industry.
It had nothing to do with our work. It just had everything to do with our work. Kim never mentions Cabrutus or any of the backlash that came from that.
Within 1 week of each other, we were like, oh, this is going to be great.
What seemed like a woke agenda or a DEI agenda. So many questions come out of that. But first, how do you deal with that level of harassment?
So the thing that was weird and funny, but not in a not funny haha, is
yes, we are. And he said, no one found it, but do you know why no one found it? This is a South Asian company. This is Indian company that has nothing to do with pretty much any of us or anything like that. It's like this is like a nothing burger, a nobody. Let's go back here. Like there's the one that's talking to her. This is not them trying to make some comeback. This is like a scratch interview in another country. Oh, these guys will scratch at anything they can find to try and talk about Sweet Baby Inc. because it's the only thing that's getting them any clicks and views anymore. Well, let's check on that. I'm saying that Gothic Therapy. And of course, the first thing that comes up is Gothic Therapy Sweet Baby Inc. God damn, please stop. Yeah, if you look at their channel, we've got 1,000, 2K. There's a 6K about Sweet Baby Inc. This one only got 2K. This one only got 2K. This one isn't about Sweet Baby Inc. 536 views. So we go right back to Sweet Baby Inc. to get 8,000 and to get 8K. 8K is the best that they've seen in like 3 months. So if they don't do, and let's see if their channel does anything else. Sweet Baby, Take Us North is different. More MCU, Sweet Baby, Families, Yellow Brick, Sweet Baby. They've tried to do these other things worse than we thought, which is probably still woke. Yeah, it looks like they tried. This one did well. This one wasn't Sweet Baby, and it got 12K. Demon in an Armor, Black Woman, I guess. Sweet Baby. So you can see like just how much they push it. They change their name. They should change their channel name. Yeah, I agree. They're like a sports dev milking the hell out of ESPN, SBI, 2K. Exactly. I mean, this guy, he puts himself up as this big investigator, but everything that I've seen, every time I watch some of his investigations, they're the most shit investigations that I've ever seen. Like, what commentary are they actually giving about Kim Blair in this situation?
That when Alan Wake came out and also Spider-Man, we were so excited, right? We were like, this is, we worked on those games for a very long time. Spider-Man we were on for 3 years and we couldn't tell anybody, right? So we were so excited to finally have those games released and we could finally talk about it. And having them released within 1 week of each other, we were like, oh, this is going to be great, because we were excited that people would finally kind of see the ways that we're working and go, wow, I didn't realize that different writers in different industries could even work on that.
Little company.
Right? Well, that's the thing, for a little company, like we're very, very small. And so we were just like excited to be able to do this, and we thought it was really cool. But the backlash then ended up kind of being I mean, the hardest part about it was it had nothing to do with any of the real work we had done, right? On our website, and also just any time you talk to me, I always talk about, I think, the importance of representation and inclusion in the industry.
It had nothing to do with our work. It just had everything to do with our work. Kim never mentions Cabrutus or any of the backlash that came from that. None of it. She doesn't mention it at all in this entire talk. She makes it all that it's all backlash. She doesn't ever acknowledge it.
So I think what she's trying to say there, while you twist out her words, and this is me, defending white knighting for a group that I don't even believe in, is that the backlash wasn't over the games or what was put into the games. The backlash was over her politics. If I remember right, the backlash came first, and then she did the Cabrutus thing, right? She probably isn't going to talk about it because she knows it makes her look bad, and I agree, it made her look fucking terrible. It started my hate for like Sweet Baby Inc. definitely, because trying to get a guy's Steam page taken down because he's notating your games was just absolutely unhinged.
At all.
Don't believe us? You're about to listen for yourself.
Tokenism is not something that I think any marginalized person wants for themselves, right? In fact, if anything, the thing that I'm fighting against is I don't like seeing, if I'm speaking as like a black woman, if I see a black woman character in a game and she's acting completely differently, has no experience, doesn't seem to have any relation, I don't go like, oh, I'm so mad, but I go, oh, that character is not quite hitting, right? And
So let me translate from Kimmy's to English. What Kim just said is that she's against tokenism, but if she sees a black character in a game that isn't acting the way that she feels that she needs to, then it's wrong and it needs to be changed.
Oh wait,
Yeah, that's what she said. And if you look at other games that she's done, like South of Midnight, she didn't change the characters to be the way that she believed. The characters were very much following the Southern accents and things like that a lot of people would call tokenism from back in the day. They sound like slaves or whatever else. In fact, the anti-woke were the ones that called the voices racist from the moment the first clip came out. So
there's more.
I want to make that clear. She says she's against tokenism.
Yeah, I agree. The Cabrutus stuff was a big mistake. They should have the problem with any of these people is they try to engage when all you really need to do is what the Burrow game that I was playing recently, Winter Burrow did, and that's just block them. Tell your people to all block him and step away, and he'll take care of it as a leader, right?
And then explains how if there's a black character in the game that isn't hitting correctly, they need to be changed.
Also, she's...
Yes, if a black game, the character isn't hitting the games within the game setting, then yeah, it probably should be adjusted to match with the game setting or whatever else they think. Could that possibly be that they don't like how they sound because it sounds racist and they want to change it? Sure, it could be, but every individual point is different. You have to show me where they were like, oh no, this character is just racist, completely change it.
She's not a black woman, she's mixed.
For me, it's about authenticity. It's about going, if we're going to...
Why do you even have to say it? Who gives a fuck if she's mixed? When it comes to tokenism from both sides, it's strange because what determines tokenism? Yeah, I agree, because like anything that you consider tokenism or things like that are usually something that came out of the culture, right? The way like black rappers and things like that talk would be considered tokenism in a lot of things. But is it really, or is it the community as a whole as rappers? So I don't know. I don't really give a shit about the tokenism. I mean, maybe you can make an argument that the black guy always dies first, but most of the time this just sounds like brain dead.
To go on these adventures, we're going to tell these kinds of stories. How do we tell them in such a way that they're resonant to like a broad audience and
Sorry, but I laughed at the part where she said authenticity.
So for Alan Wake 2, we had got brought in actually.
Yeah, the game that I played that they've touched South of Midnight seemed very authentic to me.
There's a
So now she's going to go into exactly from her own words. Before we only knew in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we are literally now going to go into, she's going to explain exactly what Sweet Baby Inc. was called in for on Alan Wake. And I'm going to tell you a secret, guys. It's exactly what you thought it was.
Dun dun dun. You ready?
I'm going to rewind just a little bit so they can hear this.
So for Alan Wake 2, we had got brought in. Actually, there's two leads. There's Alan Wake, who's a white man, and then there's Saga Anderson, who's a black woman. And we were brought in because on the team they were like, we love this character, we've made this character, but we don't have any black folks on the team, and we'd love to have you guys come in and help us develop the character in a way that's interesting, right? Because it's not that they're looking for like, oh, can you make sure it's not offensive? They're looking for, where are the areas of resonance that we can find? What is the most interesting thing? What even aspects of what is the history of like black horror, right? As we explore like the horror of Alan Wake, how do we also, like, are there elements that we can kind of think about for that?
So she was
Okay. What was like woke about that? Even she explained that they had already made the black character, so a lot of the things were Sweet Baby Inc. forced a black character into the game. No, they had already made a black character, and they decided they wanted to be authentic with it, so they called in Sweet Baby Inc.
brought in. Alan Wake was brought. She was brought in. They were brought in from Kim's mouth. They were brought into Alan Wake to work on the black female character. To be fair, she said that they were asked in to help make the character interesting and have them resonate. So, in other words, we don't have any black people on the team. Quick, Sweet Baby Inc., please come help us make this black character authentic. Us lessers cannot do it on our own. We need your black experience.
And yes, she did actually say black horror.
If you thought,
Well, yeah, there is black horror, African American horror, whatever you want to call it. There is like a difference in that. And like, okay, if I'm making a historical game, right? I'm making a historical game about a certain period of time. Would I not call in a historian to write about that? So if I'm a company and say I'm woke, I'm like a little more lefty politics, and I made the decision to make this character who's a black woman and she's interesting, you know, you like where the story is going, but you want to make some more details, make it a little bit more authentic, as they're saying. Would you not want a company that says they're trying to do that? Now, you have to look at it from like, you have to look at the company, obviously. But in that game, is it, Red Stain is saying that that Remedy wasn't forced. Say they willingly approached. Remedy wasn't forced to make it. You're saying the company. They willingly asked, hey, we would like to have this perspective in there. I don't see anything directly wrong with that. If they completely changed the character, then yes. But if they're making like tweaks to it to make it more interesting, okay. You're making me like Sweet Baby Inc. more.
that was good. We're gonna also now find out what they worked on with Spider-Man 2. Kim's gonna admit exactly what they did.
And we don't want to be
what's also
heroic.
funny is that for Spider-Man, we just did story. I did a lot.
We just did story on Spider-Man.
A lot of work on that. Like, I often talk about the fact that like Craven, who's a white guy, is like the character I actually think and him and Harry, I think I worked on the most.
You heard it here. Kim Belair and
Harry
were brought in to work on Craven and Harry. By the way, I love how Kim describes him as a white guy. For Spider-Man, that they said, no, we just consulted. She just admitted they did story on it.
Confirmed.
So,
well, yeah, I mean, they would have done story for Remedy as well when talking about it, but they were just like they're story consultants. Yes, they're going to do fucking story. That's kind of the whole point. The story's already written, from my understanding, is from what it sounds like, and they go in and they're like, well, this could be more interesting here. This is a little bland, blah, 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 blah. You know, what are in that story did they change? Did they write? Like it's just they said they wrote story.
So literally, guys, you know all the things that they kept saying that they didn't do? We don't do anything about the story. We just consult. By the way, here we are working on the story. We didn't just get brought in to do to put a black person in it. Oh, we were brought in to specifically work on the black person.
I often talk about the fact that like Craven, who's a white guy, is like the character I actually think and him and Harry I think I worked on the most. But it got turned into this thing of like, oh, you put pride flags in New York. You made a deaf character, which neither of which are problems. Like neither of which you should.
Notice how.
Sorry, but I was laughing very loudly and had to move away from my microphone so none of you guys would lose your hearing.
I love this though. I want to point
I want to gouge out my ears just hearing you talk.
out. She says that it was made into this thing where you put pride flags and you did a deaf character, and then doesn't explain that they didn't do it. Immediately says it's not a problem. Oh, okay. So you didn't do it, but you're okay with it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that could very well be a thing, right? That you can agree with something that the company did, but not have been a part of it.
Oh boy.
We should be complaining about anyway, but we got blamed for essentially this vague idea of wokeness and for forcing people to go woke or to put DEI in the games, and it was really, really staggering because it happened on the very day that it released. Like this is.
Notice she's not denied that they did this. She has just said we got accused of doing this, and then it immediately moves over and doesn't explain if they actually.
Yes, Red Stain, it is just a lot of gotchas. And I hate this whole idea of, I see people do it all the time. Well, you didn't say you didn't do it. Like, it's such a fucking weak point. They didn't say they didn't do it. They didn't say they did do it. It's just they did consultation and you don't know the details.
Actually did or not.
Which means, yes, they did it.
It was.
See how retarded that was when the woman speaks?
It was really, really staggering because it happened on the very day that it released. Like this is, I ended up kind of going like, oh, I'm going to do a cheeky little Google and like look to see if anyone's talking about us or talking about these games and what the reviews are like.
That is a mistake. Do not Google yourself.
And instead, I saw a 4chan post basically telling people our addresses.
Do not go to 4chan.
Personal addresses, names, photos, linking to our accounts and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And we started getting hundreds of messages of hate mail. And
wrong. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay.
Well, first, why is she on 4chan?
Here's the thing. I'm going to stop you right here, Kim. First, let's get this straight. If there was anybody posting on 4chan who was linking back to your accounts or doxing you or anything like that, that's not okay. Not okay. Agreed. Not okay. However, I'm going to call you out right here, and I'm going to call you out for a particular reason. You said this, but then you said, oh, then we started getting backlash. Incorrect. You started getting backlash the most because of your former employee, Chris Kindred, going after Cabrutus. And you literally don't mention this at all in here. And then this person, speaking of this person, we have Smash JT with.
Oh, God. Hey, Smash, you need to save that fucking money, bud. You're not getting much more for your case.
Hi, Kim. I'm
Hi,
sure
Smash.
Kim, then you also had Chris Kindred come after Smash JT's job and try to get him fired. So the backlash became, I'm sure there was.
Did Kim do this? I'm fuzzy on what happened back when this happened, but was Kim telling him to do it, or was this other person doing it?
Was some backlash, but it became worse because of the actions of an employee that you hired and you don't even acknowledge.
So if an employee you hired does something crazy, you're 100% the person that made that happen. At this point, I don't blame companies for alienating people. Sorry, it's just tiring when everyone wants to be moral police. However, that's just me speaking from a fence-sitting perspective. I get it. the problem is we don't know what's happening in the background, right? Is there open dialogue of Kim asking this employee to do it? Did they keep this employee on and protect them? I don't remember some of these things, so I can't speak too much on it. She didn't like I think it's bad she didn't talk about the Cabrutus stuff, but it's a human thing where we're not going to talk about things that are bad. The Cabrutus stuff should have been brought up in this article or in this interview.
As part of the time.
It also should have been brought up by this interviewer, right?
Time frame here.
And let's, for context, say for anyone else who's new, because we now have 180 something people here, she does not address that at all in this entire hour-long interview.
She doesn't address it. She never mentions Chris Kindred. She never mentions Cabrutus. She doesn't mention anything because she needs to be a victim. Cabrutus is here. Well, let me that. Cabrutus, did you hear that she admitted that they worked on the black character in Alan Wake and that they worked on the story of Spider-Man 2? You know, the things they said they didn't work on? You know, those things?
She admitted it herself. And
I just don't know that I believe the way they're spreading it. I feel like I need to read those portions myself because I've seen just so many times how they'll say that this is what they said, but then when you read it, you're like, that's not at all what they're saying. Even then with this timeline he's talking about, she said after they found the messages, then they got, or after they found the 4chan, then they got harassed. Are you saying the Cabrutus thing happened before that, and that's why their stuff went online, and then they got harassed? I mean, at this point, she's not mentioning Cabrutus. That's the biggest take I think you can get after her. She's not mentioning a big portion of the drama and the wrongdoing of people involved, right? But I don't know that this messes up the timeline.
But wait, there will be more. And
I'll admit, like, the first thing was shock because I was like, uh-oh. The second reaction is I have to defend my team. I have to make sure, like, is everybody safe? How do we stay safe? And for the next months and indeed year and a half now, it's just been about mitigation. But it's hard because I think, one, it's hard just to hear any amount of abuse, right? It sucks. Like, it's just, even on days when you go, these people aren't any of my audience or people I would ever want to be friends with, it's still very annoying to be.
Kim doesn't want to be friends with me. Aww, I'm sad.
Well, she probably thinks you're a stalker at this point.
Hey, Kim. So, you know, you said mitigation. You know, you mentioned mitigation. It's trying to mitigate it and stay safe. You know what would have helped with that? After your not so crazy employee went after Cabrutus and then tried to get Smash JT fired from his job, maybe you should have, I don't know, tried some mitigation by, I don't know, actually acknowledging that you fired him, which we all know you've done. You just refuse to admit it. And acknowledging that that was wrong. That doesn't mean.
And this is just like a repeat of every time this happens. She fired him, so she doesn't agree with what he said, right? So she fired him. She did the thing that they wanted her to do, but that's not enough. You've got to get down on your knees and beg the anti-woke to fucking forgive you for your transgressions. And this is retarded. Even if some person got down here and did this, they would still find a reason to run them through the mud and do everything else. You also notice how they only focus on those two things. Nothing about any other things that are woke, nothing about any other points. They have to find, when they find one thing, they're going to harp on it because they have nothing else. They've done no deep research. They can't make any analysis for what actually happened. They just say basic bullshit, use the same buzzwords, and pretend they did something.
That people weren't wrong for harassing you.
And, act like a CEO and take responsibility for your employee.
Be constantly, like, having...
I don't know why he has his wife on here. She makes some of the dumbest commentary I hear the entire time that I'm listening to this. Firing the employee that did something wrong is taking accountability for that person. Not every company needs to make a long list of apology. In fact, yeah, humiliation ritual is what they want. In fact, even when companies do apologize, especially with like bigger game companies, the freaking people still drag them through the mud. Gamers will drag everybody through the mud. Apologizing doesn't do shit for this small company that goes in there. If they did something actually heinous, if the company itself did something heinous, maybe. You know what, Kim and the anti-woke people should talk face to face in a room, not through videos or streaks. Maybe they can get along. I doubt it. From what I've heard, if you try, like, one, the anti-woke aren't going to bring anyone in. I've seen proof of that for the most part. And then what is this damage sector? Are you doing anything after going over? No, I don't think so. By the time I finish this, it'll probably be pretty close to being off stream.
Having all these people just saying mean things about you. But also I think that
that's full, right? It's just unpleasant and you're dealing with it.
Oh yeah, like Elon Musk tweeted that we were an evil blight on the games industry and that we couldn't go broke soon enough. Like this is the richest man in the world telling a company of like 10 people whose business he has no idea about, right? But he's jumping on the anti-woke bandwagon. And so he calls us an evil blight. And of course, that means more hundreds of people pile on us, right? People make videos, people do streams because all
like this one. Hi, Kim. We're doing a stream right now, Kim.
On that level, but
and it's probably one of the most brain dead streams I've watched today.
I think in a weird way, the deeper hurt of it, I think, is that it robs us of the truth of our work.
It robs them of the truth of their work. Yes, guys, everything we've claimed that they have verified is true in this very, very podcast, it's all fake.
It pretends.
You see what I mean? Like, this guy's not an investigator. He's not even all that intelligent when it comes to it. The truth of her work would be referring to what they actually did on those games. What things did they actually tweak or talk about for Remedy? What things did they actually write on in Spider-Man 2? What things have they actually done and said? Like, you can have them say that they wrote story, but what does that mean? That doesn't mean fucking anything. They act like children, yes. They're like little fucking kids who are sucking on a fucking rattle.
As though we're not writers, we're not narrative designers, we're not game developers, and we don't.
I mean, to be fair, Kim, one of your people working for you is a chef with no experience in the game industry. None.
Literally, just because she likes his cooking.
So you're saying we're not writers, we're not whatever. Yes, that person kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Do they do writing, or are they a chef for the company? Like, I don't know what this means. Like, are they a chef? Who is the chef?
Care about authenticity. We're just a bunch of like whiners who are just asking for things to change in games, and it acts as though we don't like games. It acts as though we don't want any sex or violence in games. It acts like we don't want to push those things forward. It acts like we're censors, right? And I think in any kind of progressive work, in any we want to push boundaries.
So it acts like all these things, and then we admit that that's exactly what we want.
What? Am I just fucking like hearing shit wrong? Did I just fucking
acts as though we don't like games? It acts as though we don't want any sex or violence in games. It acts like we don't want to push those things forward. It acts like we're censors, right? And I think in any kind of progressive work, in any we want to push boundaries.
So it acts like all these things, and then we admit that that's exactly what we want.
This dude's a fucking retard. That's not at all what she said. She said she wanted to push the boundaries in violence and things like that. She didn't at all contradict herself. Are you a fucking moron?
We don't want all these things, but we're progressive, so we do want it.
We want to explore new kinds of characters and stories, and to be given this pushback from a group of people who ostensibly also want that, but who completely misunderstand the way to go about it, it's especially demoralizing. because there are thousands of videos about us. There are hundreds of videos about me, but of those people, no one has written to us to say, "Hey, can I just ask a couple of questions about how this works?"
But we literally have. We actually have written to you, Kim.
Hey, Smash, if you're still here, did you know the emails that you sent to them, you didn't send them. They never got any correspondence. Kim just said it here. No one has ever messaged them and asked them questions. None.
Lies.
Especially all the times that I messaged them and asked them questions, and everybody else I messaged and asked questions. I guarantee you got them. You literally are trying to claim that nobody messaged you with simple questions. I call BS. BS. There you go. Smash. That's BS. I wrote the multiple messages and nothing in return. No, Smash. You see, you have to be the right person.
I would like to know what those messages are, because maybe they did ask good questions. I'm going to try and give them the benefit of the doubt. Did they ask good questions, or was it a bunch of woke slop questions that didn't bother needing answering? It all depends, right?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
You can have your camera on,
I'm in my daughter's room sweating my ass off and no t-shirt on. You don't want my camera on right now.
But maybe the chat does want your camera on just for that reason.
Oh.
Yes, they are triggered. It doesn't take much.
No.
Definitely not.
No,
Definitely not.
no, thank you.
Maybe
No,
like 10 years
no,
ago,
no.
but no, I got a dad bod now. You don't want it now. trust me.
But Smash, what
Dude,
what do you have to say about all of Kim's truth about how no one ever messaged her, they never did anything wrong, they didn't work on, they didn't do DEI, except all the stuff that they're doing are DEI, all the things that we've said about them that they're doing, that they admitted to doing in this thing, they didn't do. What do you think of all that?
I think it's fascinating how you caught them you caught her in a bold-faced lie.
Regutech USA Smash edition. Oh, God.
When she said that, wait, hold on. When is this from, though? When is this recording from?
August
This
of 2025. This
Yeah,
past
correct.
August.
She's 1,000,000% lying then. She knows that I've reached out to her. I made a video and she talks about the videos that have been made. In the video, I read out what I wrote to them. I talked about this. She watches the videos and then goes on in this and says, yeah, they never try to reach out to us. I'm like, whoa, what?
Yeah,
Hold on a
total BS.
second. That's
All
straight
right.
up lying now.
Uh-huh.
What I've learned from these types of people is it's almost like I hate to bring up the Hassan dog thing, but it's almost
Here we go.
like they just peddle lie after lie and build lies on top of lies, and then just never acknowledge the truth, and then call you the one that's the problem and the idiot and the issue and the harasser and all these other things. It's like, no, I know I'm not crazy. Like, you just aren't accountable to anything.
Initially, I was very disheartened.
Okay, that statement was brain dead. What are they not accountable to? Yeah, maybe they lied about the messages. I'll give you that because I can't go any further. But like, what are they not being accountable to? Not answering your specific questions? Jesus. Smash JT is not a speaker.
Like the first, I did a talk about the harassment during XOXO, this conference in Portland last year, and I talked about this a lot, but I reiterate it now because I felt so guilty the first few months of this.
You should feel guilty, Kim. Kim.
More riveting commentary from a retard.
You should feel guilty. You had a crazy psycho employee who tried to get someone's Steam account.
Again, focusing on the same employee, not what Kim did, but Kim's employee that you yourself said she fired.
And tried to get someone fired from their job and said all these horrible things, and you won't even acknowledge him. That's how guilty you are.
You know the whole situation with him.
Why aren't they answering my question? And it's questions worded for it to be a gotcha. Yeah, pretty much.
With not Cabrera, sorry, with Chris Kindred trying to get me fired from that old job. When I found out about it, I was like, this is like surreal because I know when I go live with this information, no one's going to believe it because that's like so absurd that it's like, no, I know you're a trustworthy YouTuber, but now it seems like you're going to turn into one of those YouTubers that just make shit up. I'm like, no, this.
God damn. Smash JT saying he's a trustworthy YouTuber when the motherfucker's been caught not vetting his sources, constantly makes up bullshit. Can't even get his story straight and gets called out by fucking smaller YouTubers.
Actually happened.
That is why you always provide the receipts.
We're going to go as long as this takes. We're going to get this done. I never want to do this again.
Who wanted to do this on the
He will definitely do it again, hoping he gets more views.
combat team. There's someone who wanted to do this in the art team. There's someone who just wants to do this on writing. All of them have won battles. All of them have lost battles.
Mate, working on a game is not a battle. You're not fighting to get your stuff.
Yeah, McDizzle broke Smash. Like, do you hear this shit? Like this little gotcha? Let's hear what she said again.
Someone who wanted to do this on the combat team. There's someone who wanted to do this in the art team. There's someone who just wants to do this on writing. All of them have won battles. All of them have lost battles.
Mate, working on a game is not a battle.
Is she even talking about battles in the game? Or is she talking about battles in their life? Let's see.
You're not fighting to get your stuff in a game. It is not a battlefield, Kim. You are not a soldier.
Oh, God.
Oh, my
God.
If she's talking about specifically won battles and lost battles about things in game, yeah, you could see that. Like saying that you've actually working in a game as a battle development hell. Yeah, that's fair. Well, it's like it is always a push and pull system in those kind of things. Fighting battles is a common phrase used in business industries and corporate industries. Like, hey, I'm fighting a battle to get this thing set up for my employee. I'm fighting a battle to get this done. Like, this isn't even a gotcha. This is just fucking my head is hurting at how retarded they're trying to get these gotchas for. It's like they're trying to fill up space because there's nothing really here.
God. Oh, my brain. She is literally looking at this as like, it's a battle to get your stuff into the game. No, you are not.
They're laughing at this. Then one of their friends is going to talk about how they are in the Gamergate trenches. Yeah. I bet they would see what they're doing as a battle.
Fighting to go, well, I want diversity. No. Well, I want it. No. I'm going to the front lines. I'm Kim Belair. DEI, everywhere. Fighting on the side of the DEI is Kim Belair. Shooting.
The DEI trenches.
Grenade. Keep in mind, I've already listened to this once through.
This is his second time listening.
Tylenol the Kid says, I'm Kim and Bowser's love child. Somehow this is more entertaining than the actual thing.
Like sometimes it is like, hey,
This is the riveting commentary that you're getting about Sweet Baby Inc. Like, absolutely brain dead morons.
need a sanity check from other people who have companies in the games industries. Like
You need a sanity check from a professional psychologist. My husband is available.
Kim, you
Your husband's not a psychologist. Not yet.
failed. Your sanity check, you failed.
And is he a psychologist or is he a therapist? Because there's a difference.
people who have companies in the games industries. Like
You need a sanity check from a professional psychologist. My husband is available.
Kim, you failed. Your sanity check, you failed.
Says the therapist. He is qualified.
Kim.
Now there's a therapist. But isn't he a therapist in training?
I hate to break it to you. I'm going to say this. I think you, and I'm being nice. I'm being mean, okay? I'm going to be mean, but I'm letting you know that I'm being mean on purpose, okay? I think that you are so unintelligent that you would stay up all night studying for a urine test and still fail it.
Rewind a few minutes or a minute
sanity
or so.
check from other people who have companies in the games industries. Like I have a group chat with other people who are like, oh yeah, we are all team leads at different narratives. And sometimes you just go like, I feel crazy. And they go, thank you. But also sometimes they'll go, hey, I have a person who's just gotten laid off of my team. Can you find somebody? And so it really is, I think, about establishing those networks of care and of collaboration, even if it's just mutual updates, and creating that baseline space first. There are a lot of really beneficial communities. And I think also, don't be afraid.
Yeah, I agree, Red Stain. I don't like these people either. It's not even close to what you would call it intelligent conversation.
To like, I'll say right now, I'm on LinkedIn. People can reach out to me. Like, we have an email talk at Sweet Baby Inc. that if people.
No. You said that nobody ever reached out to you on that.
We already have, Kim. We have already reached out.
Want to talk to us and ask us questions, because we've gotten a lot of hate to it. We haven't gotten a lot of questions, right?
We got a lot of hate, but we haven't gotten a lot of questions. Once again, Kim, you are full of crap.
Once again, Kim, you are a big fat liar.
Go back to Nam and fight for video games there.
And I think, again, to go back to the harassment, that's been one of the wildest things for me, where like so many of my favorite games are games that I think people would agree with. So many of my favorite characters are like characters who I think that they're not like, you know, quote unquote woke or something. Like Elden Ring is my current or my favorite game maybe ever. Like the Uncharted series, I think about God of War. I think about
you worked on God of War, disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Like tons of these games that I play.
I just can't even, like, right now.
And I'm not like, oh, this is killing me. I hate this. It's for guys, right? I'm like,
you just complained about how you didn't like being in those games because when people talked to you, you didn't like it because they were making fun of you and trash talking you. And now you're saying you don't feel that way. Make up your.
Did I miss something right there?
About God of War, I think about.
You worked on God of War, disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Like tons of these games that I play, and I'm not like, oh, this is killing me. I hate this. It's for guys, right? I'm like.
You just complained about how you didn't like being in those games because when people talked to you, you didn't like it because they were making fun of you and trash talking you. And now you're saying you don't.
When did this? Am I having a stroke? Like, when was that said anywhere in this video that we've watched? This sounds like he's talking about like third person fucking or not third person. This is like, it's like he's talking about I can't even speak right. Like PvP. Where she talked about PvP? The game she talked about was fucking Elden Ring, which has a PvP element that you don't really have to interact with, and God of War, which has no PvP element. What the fuck did you create in your little head that says anything that connects your statement to what she just said?
Don't feel that way. Make up your god dang mind, Kim.
She has no mind to make up.
All she does is word salad.
Yeah. This woman makes no sense.
That's why I think it's so important to not just normalize like, hey, stop being mean to women and marginalized identities on the internet, but also just like,
stop being mean to women and marginalized identities on the internet. I'm gonna go tell my mommy. Where? Go.
Mommy,
get a
help!
grip, Kim.
I can't fight my own battles.
Kim, I'm going to say this again. Especially as a woman, you should understand this. And I'm being mean again because I want to be. At this point, I've listened to your entire thing. I have a right to be mean. I am playing my mean card. I am allowed to be mean.
Shut up and just say it.
As a woman, you must be very familiar with the kitchen, correct? If you can't take the heat, don't go in the kitchen.
I don't think Kim can even cook.
Yeah.
Did he say go in the kitchen?
I would be mean. As a woman, you must be very familiar with the kitchen, correct? If you can't take the heat, don't go in the kitchen.
Okay, he did say don't go in the kitchen.
Yeah, just get.
Wow, fucking riveting. Oh my God. This is a guy who will block people when they say things he doesn't like. This is a guy who will complain about haters and everything else. This is not somebody like you turn this around and these fuckers will cry like anyone else. Like, let's go into any other anti-woker. Are you going to give them fucking shit for blocking these retarded people that say stupid shit? No, because it's only about Kim. If you were getting this kind of harassment, you'd cry like a little bitch too.
Cooked.
Oh, ouch.
Hey, I think game studios and places need to start thinking more seriously about if we're going to actually maintain like women in the industry, you have to have women playing games. You have to.
What?
I'm gonna eat my hat. I'm gonna eat my hat. I'm gonna eat
your
my hat.
No,
I'm gonna eat it.
No, you love that hat. Don't
I'm
eat your
gonna eat my hat. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat my hat.
It's okay, Red Stain. Your spiteful side is showing, and I get it. I'll let them talk their dumb shit though, because then I can come on here and just listen to it and talk about it and show how retarded they actually are.
I can't take it anymore.
Honey, no.
I can't take it anymore. Make it end. Make it end.
Do not eat your hat, please. You love that hat. I don't know what to be able to get you a new one.
Even if I played quote unquote girl games exclusively, it should never be a problem, right? If I am someone who goes, you know what?
It's not a problem unless you make it one, Kim.
Which she does.
I want this character to look a little like this or a little like that. Sure, whatever. But I think this idea that change in art can merit like a violent pushback is just fundamentally in the way of art. And
At first, I felt bad about them when JDA turned against them, but now fuck them. I mean, it's just these people are now with that Park Place writing art. Well, they've already been writing articles with them, but now they're part of Cabrutus's dumb shit fucking site too. What was that cringe demonstration? Which one? Hold on.
Problem unless you make it one, Kim.
Which she does.
I want this character to look a little like this or a little like that. Sure, whatever. But I think this idea that change in art can merit like a violent pushback is just fundamentally in the way of art. And what's wild about it is that, yeah, I think if you are someone who wants to push forward and if you want to say, hey, I want to see sexier women in these games, I want to see more sexuality in these games, you don't get it by yelling at everybody who's about wokeness, right? Because the amount of times that I have been in a room and I have said I would like to push forward for this character to have a more expressed sexuality, and the thing is not like, oh, we're scared of that. It's often like people won't be able to be serious about it. People won't be able to handle that. If you put a sex scene, the community will go nuts over and be.
Kim.
It doesn't belong in the game.
You're trying to make it seem like this is art and that you're pushing this stuff and you're trying to say that, oh, by saying, no, we don't want these kinds of changes that you want, we're also stopping the changes that we want. That's not the case, Kim.
When the fuck did she say that? Like,
in the way of art.
You're fucking brain dead.
Wild about it is that, yeah, I think if you are someone.
She's talking about people on the internet being brain dead, and actually like if you want to make an argument about what she's basically saying that the community that is around the anti-woke community stifles creativity in art because it can only be there one way, right? If someone is gay in a game, they're going to say something about it. If like they fall back on this Anita Sarkeesian idea that women are over-sexualized in gaming. But has Kim Blair said anything about that in particular when it comes to it? Because she's saying right here she's okay with sexuality in games.
Who wants to push forward, and if you want to say, hey, I want to see sexier women in these games, I want to see more sexuality in these games, you don't get it by yelling at everybody who's about wokeness, right? Because the amount of times that I have been in a room and I have said I would like to push forward for this character to have a more expressed sexuality, and the thing is not like, oh, we're scared of that. It's often like people won't be able to be serious about it. People won't be able to handle that. If you put a sex scene, the community will go nuts over and be.
Kim.
It doesn't belong in the game.
The chick on the bottom just needs to go the fuck away. What do you mean it doesn't belong in the game? there are games that have sex scenes that are more adult, not even like porn style games. We're talking about like fucking Baldur's Gate. There were sex scenes in I mean, as far back as like Mass Effect, which that was a big deal, but they didn't necessarily show everything about them, but there was still a sexuality to it, right? There's the implication of sex in the game. So the idea that that doesn't belong in games is absolutely retarded. Now let's hear his retarded statement.
Trying to make it seem like this is art and that you're pushing this stuff, and
yes, sexuality can be art.
you're trying to say that, oh, by saying no, we don't want these kinds of changes that you want, we're also stopping the changes that we want. That's not the case, Kim.
That is literally word fucking salad. What he said makes absolutely no fucking sense. Anyone who is listening to this and thinks actual statement came out of there needs to go get checked because they're probably having a fucking stroke.
You want a character to have a more expressed sexuality because you want them to be bisexual, androgynous.
I know people that would put this anti-woke clowns to shame in terms of jokes and edgy humor in more a funny way. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tree people. We want to have more expressed sexuality. You want the
Listen, I partake in some edgy jokes. I've partaken in some slurs here and there. So I understand. I know a lot of people who would eat these guys alive.
be straight or whatever else. Not a crazy weird person.
Case in point, Dragon Age the Veil Guard.
Yeah, we don't want to pull a barf, Kim.
Sexist in
Always Dragon Age the Veil Guard. Never anything else. Always Dragon Age the Veil Guard.
instead of, oh, damn, we got a sex scene in this game. Let's all be happy about it, right?
No. Not all of us are not weirdos like you.
We're not.
Dude, at least 60 to 70% of the people in your anti-woke movement are all about the sexuality. Partake, you just had Smash JT on your fucking channel, and that is something he pushes for, is more sexual games. That was his whole push with fucking, oh god, what's the game name with Eve? It's the people that you are saying that that's weirdo shit about are the people that are standing behind you on your fucking side.
Degenerates! We're not Slanesh cultists.
Because we see it. We see the way that, like, you put something in there and then all of a sudden they pick it apart.
Yeah.
So it's
called criticism and different tastes, Kim. Welcome to the world.
If you want to make
I don't want to hear his wife talk again. There's a difference between criticism and nitpicking something to death, right? You can have criticisms of things. You can talk about, different parts. But a lot of times what you hear and something you've seen here today, watching them, is they're going to find every little statement they can to dig a win. When the Indian fucking speaker, interviewer, said Alan Wake wrong, they tore that apart. Is that a criticism, or is that nitpicking the way she said it to try and get some kind of gotcha? There is a difference in what real critics do and the retarded takes that you have.
make a sex simulator game, then make a sex simulator game.
Good morning. Welcome to Rife.
You heard it here. Gothic Therapy says no sex in any games that aren't porn.
Welcome to reality.
people who think that they are pushing back against, I don't know, wokeness or something, are usually pushing back against progress towards the things that they would like.
You heard it here. If you fight back against wokeness, then you are actually pushing back against progress towards the actual things that you want, according to Kim.
There it is.
So in other words, if you
It
do
took
not
us
want
4 hours to get there, but we did.
if you do not want this stuff forced in your video games and you push back against it, you're actually harming yourself. Kim, I want to tell you something, okay? Okay, Kim, sit down for a minute, okay? How you doing, Kim? You doing well? I don't care. I'm gonna say this for you, really, Kim. You're just stupid.
So not even going to break down that statement into why she's wrong, just going to call her stupid and move on. Like nothing up there was intelligent. all of us are dumber for having listened to that video. Jesus Christ. Gothic Therapy and these two individuals in Gothic Therapy are probably the dumbest of all of the anti-woke. They make even people like fucking Gay Viper look intelligent. Oh, man. I don't know why anybody could watch that video and not think that those were complete fucking morons. Culture war politics are one hell of a drug. That's true. That's true. But anyway, so we're getting close to the end here. I'm probably going to end up calling it here in just a few minutes. Something that's happening Friday, I'm going to be doing some... I'm going to start my stream, but then I'm going to go over to... I may end up going off stream because I've been invited on to Vincent Martin's stream to go over some stuff with Leo Convoy. He's been doing this thing against the anti-woke, this thing against the commentary community that I watch. I've watched 3 of his videos now, and I very much disagree with a lot that he said. He had Beckett on the other day, so that's a video I've got to watch before I get on with him. And apparently he's been doing a lot of talking with y'all may not know who Beckett and Leo Convoy are. Beckett is a commentary guy, medium-sized channel. They talk about slop drama, shitters on the internet. They do a lot of research and stuff into that. If you know who the Op Block are, they're kind of like the Op Block. Those two groups talk. But apparently Vincent Martin has pissed off Leo Convoy. And if you don't know who Leo Convoy is, he's I don't even know if he's a furry. He wears a lion mask. He was part of the Art CC. There's a lot of information about him doxing people and stuff like this that came out. Supposedly he's changed for a better person amongst the commentary community, but he's mad at Vincent and he may or may not show up. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk with Vincent. I'll give him my points. Whether he agrees with me or not, or whether I agree with him, we'll see and go from there. So I'll start off, like I said, maybe we'll watch a video. Oh yeah, like old classic commentary. Almost like these are guys that have kind of stemmed off of the Augie RFC days. So yeah, I love watching drama. I love me some slop drama about shitters. Before I became a YouTuber, or before I started doing YouTube as a hobby, I watched a lot of like Chud Logic. I watched some Queeman, though he gets a little too political for me. I've watched Beckett before. I've just started really watching the Op Block. Who else did I watch around that time? Dickers is one of the smaller guys who's out there. Now that's a drama I can get behind. Yeah. I don't mind talking about this stuff. That's one thing I have done on the channel before and probably will talk about on the channel again. Like I really wanted to get into the Kim Possible. I love Kim Possible drama because I wanted to know more about her. But I really just didn't get into it because I was all over this Ghosts of Yotei stuff. So maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll look it up and make some little segments about it. Better than whatever we were dealing with in the gaming drama. Well, I've actually talked to a few of those guys, and most of them pretty much agree that like drama. Not most of those guys. I've talked to Q. Q's a guy who goes on the Op Block pretty regularly. He's part of their show. And, the gaming commentary is pretty much just the anti-woke now. There's not a lot else that goes on with it. And it's like going around slapping mentally disabled kids, right? They're not gonna change or listen to anything you say. They're just gonna go pout in the corner after you slap them. So... But I like learning about all sorts of crazy stuff and weirdos and people like that on the internet. So hopefully we'll make that more of the channel. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for coming by. If you are listening afterwards, like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe. Helps me out immensely, as I am almost to 100. I didn't even think I would get 100 in the time period that I got it. But we are on the way. After that, we're going to move up, hopefully to 200, 300, and then monetized. But guys, if you have anything too, I always mention this, if you have anything that you want me to watch, you have any even old school dramas or slop drama, gaming drama, just about anything that you want me to look at, you can head on to my Discord. It's linked in the channel. That one should still work. It says it's my infinite, so it should still work. And in my Discord, there's a place called Feed the Pig. Put it in there, and I'll take a look at it. And we may watch it on stream. It really depends. A lot of people are putting quite a bit of stuff in there now, so sometimes things get missed. But after that, I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Red saying thanks for coming by. Everyone else who came by, y'all have a wonderful night.